some advantages real quick of having an SCBA. So one of the main ones I like is I'm in control of my own air supply. This is mine, and mine only. I know how much I have, I take it in with me, okay? And also, I have clean air to breathe in that IDLH environment. So, that's some of the main ones. So another thing, what you want to do is check your air supply frequently, okay? So let's say you're going in and you're working. You want to check your air as many times as you can. Every time you think about it, check your air, because you're working, you're under stress, you know, it's hot in there, so you're probably using more air than you think you are, especially in the heat of the moment, adrenaline rush, you're breathing air, you're working, stressful situation, so you got to know how much air you have at all times. Also, you got to know your point of no return. So let's say you're going in there and you're working. Generally, the rule of thumb is when I get down to 50% of my air is gone, I'm probably going to start thinking about turning around and going back, because wherever I went, it took me half my tank of air to get there, which means I've got half a tank to get out. Okay, so generally that's what you want to do. If you wait till it gets down to the low air alarm, you're probably, you know, you probably went too far. You know, I wouldn't want to take mine down that far unless I was working. If you're working close to the exit or something like that, that'll probably be all right. So let's talk about actually putting this stuff on, and I'm going to show you. There's a couple different methods that are generally accepted. You know, we got the over-the-head method, we got the coat method, and we got the seat mount donning method, okay? So the over-the-head one is the one I like, especially in dress drills and stuff. What you do is you turn the unit upside down. You know, you can get everything out of the way, and you just go over the head, and it slips on. Boom. Okay? So what I like to do at this point is, this is a little trick the instructor showed us at the academy. So what I like to do is this. I like to get it up on my back a little bit, cinch the waist up tight first right there. Boom. Now come and cinch the shoulders, straps. So now most of the weight is resting on my waist. You know, very little is on my shoulders. See that? You know, I could tighten those up a little more if I want to, but I like mine a little loose so I can move around. All of it's on my waist right there, which is what I like. I like it, okay? Now the coat method is self-explanatory. You just throw it on, put it on like a coat. That gets kind of weird sometimes for me. Some guys like it. I don't necessarily like it, because when you get your turnout jacket on, sometimes it gets kind of hard. You know, you're swinging it around like a coat. Sometimes it gets hard for me to find the other strap. Sometimes it gets lost in the thread. Okay, so you got the over the head, coat, seat mount. We all know what seat mount is. That's once you put your PPE on, jump in the truck, you're headed to the scene. As you're going to the scene, put your pack on while you're sitting down. You know, you already got your PPE on. Hopefully you do it before you leave the station. So you put your PPE on, you get in the truck, boom. Put your pack on, cinch, boom, face, piece, put your seatbelt on. Always wear your seatbelt, guys. Please always wear your seatbelt. That's very, very important. Excuse me. So now let's just talk about air supply duration, okay? Let's stand this up. I kind of like it when it's stood up like that. Redock my regulator. I won't have to do any push-ups in here. So, okay, so the air supply is directly related to the size of this cylinder. And we've said before they got 2216 to 4500 psi, which means how many pounds per square inch of air it's in there. But a lot of this has to do with, you know, size of the cylinder, firefighter conditioning. Are you in condition? I mean, have you been training in gear? Have you been training on air? Or are you just sitting around the station eating hot dogs and potato chips? No, we don't do that, right? All right, so get out there, get in your gear, stay in your gear, man. because the higher your level of physical fitness is, the more air you're going to get out of this cylinder. You know, train. I can't emphasize that enough. Your life may very well depend upon this one day. This is your lifeline inside that fire. You know, and so some of the other variables that directly correlate to the air in this cylinder is, what kind of work are you doing? You know, are you standing outside spraying water? Are you down on your hands and knees in there doing a search pattern? Are you chopping down an interior door with an axe? You know, there's different levels of work, and the harder you're working, obviously the more air you're going to be using. You know, what kind of environment are you working in? Is it super hot, or is it warm? Or it may not be either one. It might just be a little smoke in there, you know. So if it's hot, and another thing, what degree of stress are you under? Is it very stressful? I mean, are there people inside this burning building? Because that's going to elevate it, man. Everything, you got to take everything into account, because when that adrenaline rush hits, you're going to be sucking air at a crazy rate, man. And it goes fast. And I've seen guys go through a bottle. I used to be one of them. I go through my bottle when I very first started, before I went to Academy. I think I went through a bottle in like 5 minutes one time. You know, so it happens. It really does. And I've seen guys go through a bottle in 4 minutes, and I've seen guys make the same bottle last 45 minutes. You know, so you know the degree of stress that you're under, the heat, environment, the work, the training. It all directly correlates to this. Okay, so let's talk about the length of the work time. We already kind of hit on it. It's directly correlated to a lot of different things. But by law, this cylinder must carry enough air for 30 minutes. Okay, at least 30 minutes. Now this 30-minute rated cylinder is under ideal laboratory conditions, okay? So if you've got a 30-minute rated bottle, I don't expect anybody. I know I probably couldn't get 30 minutes out of it myself, and I think I'm in okay, decent shape for an old dude. But anyway, when I think about an ideal laboratory, you know, condition where they're rating these bottles at, I'm thinking about some guys sitting around. They're probably in the AC, you know, right? I don't think they're up doing work, not hard work anyway. You know, so we're not working in ideal laboratory conditions, so we're probably not going to get 30 minutes. So just get, you know, be smart. Work smart, you know, not hard. And get the most air you can out of this. Okay, we've already talked about when we're going to use it. We're going to use it in IDLH environments, oxygen deficient, elevated temperatures, smoke or toxic gases. All right, so now let's talk about some disadvantages, okay? Some disadvantages of this: the size, the weight. Some of them are heavy, some of them are bulky. You're going to put this on, it's going to throw off your center of balance if you're not used to it. It's going to limit your movement, restrict your mobility, you know, especially in small spaces. You can move around in small spaces in your street clothes. Put this on, you can't hardly go through, you know, you might have trouble going through that attic scully hole, okay? So another disadvantage is, it's the first thing that happens usually when you put this mask on. It's probably going to fog up, man. You know why? It's hot out here, it's cool in here. When the cold meets hot, condensation. So your mask is going to fog up. It limits your vision. You know, it puts your blinders on, so to speak. Limits your hearing. It's hard to communicate. Your breathing is really noisy. You know, when you're breathing, you can hear your breathing in your ear, and your breathing is loud, man. It's really loud. So those are some of the disadvantages. So, any questions? Anybody got any questions? So, in summation, we told you what SCBA was. It allows us to breathe in IDLH environments. We got the 4 components, you know, the harness, the cylinder, the regulator, the face piece. Check your air frequently, check your air often. The air supply is limited. And remember, the size and the weight, man, it's going to limit your mobility, and it's going to cause you to get fatigued very prematurely. Okay? So that's pretty much my speech. Thank you guys for coming. That's our SCBA lecture for today. My name's Jay Netherland. See you tomorrow. Bye.